Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name's Laih, and today we are heading off to the town of Sandrock. My friend had also picked up the game and was telling me how the multiplayer features seemed really good, so we decided to dive into the game together. Let's get started. I was in a rush to join, so I didn't spend too much time on customization. I had played before during early development, and there was a vague memory in the back of my mind of a salon to change the character, so I wasn't too bothered. I knew there was a friendship mechanic in this game, so I strategically put my birthday at the end of the year to hopefully get presents. After a little bit of struggle on my part with operator error, I finally managed to get into the multiplayer game with my friend, now known as Beautiful Squidward. After the opening cinematic, I met Jan. I had some basic tutorial introductions, met Mian, and then we were let free into the world to spread our chaos. I started running around looking for supplies and generally getting a feel for the controls. Most of my memories of the game were gone, which was just fine since the game changes for multiplayer. It became more of an open sandbox type of world, with the two of us completing challenges and quests together or separately. I finally got enough supplies to make my own stone axe and pick hammer, and I checked the workshop's board before running off to explore. I met this cat Banjo and then Rocky before following the glowing question mark for my quest. Jan showed me the commission board, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was more interested in exploring. I put my new tools to work, whacking rocks and trees for supplies as I ran around. I came across a sleeping herd of yaks and this thorny jumper. I whacked it to see how strong it was and promptly ran off in fear. I met Burgess during my exploration, and he seemed really fixated on the water supply. I came across a rooster glitched into a scrap pile, which didn't stop it from trying to blast me. I found my first data disk, which is a currency used at the research center. I started working on my solo mission to craft a furnace and made the stone troughs and wooden sticks, but had no quartz. Squidward told me it was in the rocks and to keep mining, so I ran off to do so. Once I had enough, I ran back to build my furnace. Not knowing where to put it, I just threw it down here for now. I ran back to talk to Jan to tell him all about my furnace. Mian was also around, and we chatted about how I wanted to make new friends before she offered to be my first friend. Oh, well, that's kind of awkward. She must not know about Squidward. Jan explained about milestones before shooing us out. It was now daytime, so more people were around. I met Macchiato the cat, Sandy the camel, and this guy named Zeke, who seemed to be a farmer of some sort. I ducked into the Blue Moon Saloon and met Owen, who gave me some food. I met Katori and felt her story of the mid aged lady wanting to create some last minute glory before becoming old just resonated in my soul. I kept up my exploration of the town and met Danby and Ryan. I still had that data disk, so I ran off to see who wanted it. I met Chi, who explained about the disks as a currency for the new machine diagrams. I headed back to base and found Squidward hard at work. I decided to also get to work and started on making a bed for the tutorial. But before I had a chance to, I was challenged to a duel. I had no memory of this card game called Critters. It was like a rock, paper, scissors type of game, which was simple and cute. I came out victorious and went back to my mission of building a bed. Funny enough, Squidward had built me a bed when he made his, not knowing I'd also have to make a bed. I went back to exploring and ran into Elsie fishing. She taught me the basics of fishing, and I decided to give it a go. I ended up catching a couple fish before I lost interest and ran off. I unloaded my inventory and checked out the character screen. I had gotten new clothes and accessories, I just didn't know to equip it like armor. Oof, look at those eye bags. We decided to expand the workshop area, which took a big chunk of money. I wasn't sure what else to do other than find materials, so I ran over to the bed to nap and see if I could sleep away those giant dark circles under my eyes. It was definitely a power nap. The first nap of the day fast fills the stamina bar, so I was up and running in no time. I ended up exploring back into town and found this adorable little meerkat. I gave it a pat and it ran off happily. As I explored, I realized the buckets were filling with rainwater, and I ran up to see if I could loot it. I could, so I promptly ran around snagging all the water I could find. I met Matilda, the minister of the town's church that I had yet to see. I then met Captain the Cat and explored a little more before heading home and finding this note by Squidward. Where'd the house, though? I grabbed the completed bars off the furnace and ran over to the statue to build it. Petting it daily gives a bonus, so that's really cute. I got a quest to meet Trudy at the city hall, and along the way I met Unsure. Trudy was hard at work on the development of the town, and for some reason I thought it would be a good idea to butt into her thoughts. I checked out the urban planner to see different routes we could go, and the first choice was the House of Salvage. I headed over to see what was up. We would need to get the supplies and submit them to the building for it to finish. I ran off to begin getting supplies and came across this chest. Somehow, a massive cooking station was inside, and I took it home only to be thwarted by Squidward editing the home. I went to bother him, but then saw Mian standing nearby with a quest. It was just the home edit tutorial, which I couldn't get into because Squidward was already working. I decided to try my hand at the breach to look for ore and treasure. This man named Justice was in my way and gave the brief tutorial before walking off. I was briefly confused as to why I couldn't get in, so I ran off exploring the town instead. I met Miguel and Rocky's son Pebbles, who was super cute. Up ahead was Hugo the blacksmith, and he gave me some copper bars. This noisy little dog was running around, so I caught up to it and met Nemo. Look at his derpy little face. He was cute, so I gave him a pat, but then I realized he was pretty obnoxious. I left him behind and met Jasmine and Vivi before heading off. Back at the base, Squidward was finally done editing, and there was a little house that appeared. And I do mean little. I finally realized I've been getting skill points and opened the tab to take a look at the tree. I hate skill trees, so I was immediately put off by this. After spending some time reading through the notes and figuring out which path Squidward took, I ended up selecting the social direction. I did have my secondary objective of getting a birthday present after all. Squidward picked up a co-op mission and I helped start some of the machines for the items needed. It reminded me of the other building project we had going on, and I ran up to see what we needed for that too. I turned in the supplies before running off to get the rest. Once it was complete, we both ran inside to see what it was all about. Ryan was inside, and there was a little shop too. The main purpose is for the junkyard to salvage to get more materials. Squidward was already inside clearing the area, so I joined in to help. Eventually. And for the first time, press the right mouse key. I can roll? I found a co-op bounty on this hill and I wanted to fight it, but I was a lower level, so I chickened out. I found another one while exploring that was even higher, so we noted where they were to take them out at a later time. I finally opened the build menu to look around, but ultimately left it to Squidward since I had little interest in building up the base. I had found a bronze axe in a treasure chest, so I ran off to use it. After that gathering trip, I ran home and saw someone standing in front of the base with Squidward. I met Venti, who came to town when the salvage yard was built. She gave me a present of old parts, which I had no idea what to do with. Later on, Zeke was hanging out in front of the base, so I headed over to see what he wanted. It was a farming tutorial, but it's locked behind building up the city, so I couldn't start a farm. I still wanted to explore the ruins, so I ran back over to see if I needed to do a quest. Turns out, I didn't. I just had to whack down the wall. Afterwards, we had to have a quick power nap to make sure we had full stamina for when we head into the ruins. While waiting for Squidward, I saw someone I hadn't met yet, so I ran over really quick and met Mort. Once we were ready, we headed into the breach. After about 10 minutes, we were both out of stamina, but I had tons of neat treasure. The game offers a really cool feature in which you can either go into the ruins together in multiplayer or go alone in solo play. Back at the base, I had to figure out where to put everything. Eventually, I ended up crafting personal storage boxes to store things in. I was running around and met Mabel, and she ended up giving me some bottles of yak milk. Yummy. Jan had a quest for me, so I met up with him and he explained how the workshop rankings went. Considering it was 9 days after the start of the game, it felt a little late, but I'm also not the most productive person in this town. I ran home for a nap. This time it was a slow one since I already powered napped that day. Sleeping only works if everyone gets in bed, and Squidward was off doing his thing. After diving in the ruins for a little bit, I was running around and saw someone I didn't know. I met Crystal. Considering I'd been in town for 10 days now, I felt bad. I knew I'd have to push friendship points with everyone if I wanted that birthday present at the end of the year. I saw up ahead another new person and met Cooper, the owner of the Yakmo farm and husband of Mabel, the lady who gave me milk earlier. I was thinking maybe he'd give me some milk too, except I just got a stern lecture. After about 3 dives into the ruins, I ended up with a lot of relic pieces, so I ran to Cheese to see if I could put some together. After a brief tutorial, I was able to make several relics. With my new decor on hand, I ran back to the base to beautify it. I made myself a storage box to put the rest of the relic pieces away. Calling it mini is generous. This thing could barely hold what I had. I ran around chatting up the locals, and even found some that actually had no interactions. Squidward had expanded the house, so I ran inside to admire the new, spacious living quarters we had now. It fit both beds. I was running around and had forgotten about the congratulations celebration for reaching a higher workshop level. I picked up a commission, something I had been grossly neglecting to do. Mabel was super appreciative, though, and I realized I got a lot of friendship points doing it. We ended up getting a sandstorm, which was super annoying because I get lost even on a clear sunny day. Running home, something caught my attention a mile away. Squidward had built a new barn, which would house animals like yaks, horses, and camels to ride as mounts. This is where we're going to end this episode. We met all the townspeople and animals available, with even more locked behind the urban planner. With a little more work, I think the relationships will hit 2 hearts, which is the minimum for a birthday present. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know down in the comments who I should focus on for marriage. Right now, Owen is a potential candidate. I think he's one of the best voice actors. I'll see you next time. Bye.